In this video, I talked to you about my first time in the town of Sosua and how Kevin, a 6'2" Dominican security guard at my hotel who wore a flak jacket and carried a shotgun, saved the day. Contained in this video are night scenes inside the club Dolce Vita in the old city of Cartagena, and night scenes outside of the club Dolce Vita. And also me telling you about the first time I ever went to the town of Sosua and the experience that I had. Hey, this is the World Travel Sage and Cartagena guy. I have a few YouTube channels, but I have not really created a lot of content on Cartagena guy, for example. Creating content takes, a lot of time and effort. And but I ask you, if you like my channel and you support me, to please go and subscribe to Cartagena guy and, of course, World Travel Sage. And, I would love to be able to just focus on creating content, but it's time consuming and can also cost, money. So at this point, I can't do that. But so please subscribe, like, do all that stuff. And as always, I am trying for you to be a more informed, safe world traveler. That is my goal in trying to give you information about everything, including, the lives of sex workers. So, in this video, Sosua versus Cartagena video 2, I want to tell you guys about my first experience the first time I went to Sosua. And, I'd spent most of my time in Santo Domingo. I had an apartment and a Dominican girlfriend in Santo Domingo. A crazy Dominican girlfriend who was super sexy, but nuts. But anyway, so I have, plenty of experience in the Dominican Republic, but I figure I'll go check out Sosua. My Dominican girlfriend is kind of driving me nuts, and I kind of did it to sort of annoy her. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in Sosua. She didn't like that, but she does lots of things that I didn't like. So I wanted to kind of even the playing field with her a little bit. So, I go to Sosua, and the first place I ever stay and is Hotel Europa. And look, I like Hotel Europa a lot. I have a relationship with the people at Hotel Europa. And, overall, it's a good, affordable place to stay. And so, I'm at Hotel Europa, and there's a kind of a bar restaurant downstairs. And you can kind of watch the street going by, and it's, it's kind of nice. It's laid back, And I just want to say overall that I like Sosua, so I don't want people to think that, that I don't. It's just, if you're going to get with chicas, then that's a whole other thing, If you don't get with women in Sosua or even the Dominican Republic, and that's not your primary reason for being there, then you know what? It's a very different thing than, you going and trying to get with, women. So it's because you're going to have to deal with the crazy mentality, and so that's what's going to happen with you getting involved with women, whatever their deal is, girlfriends, sex workers. So, so you got to be careful with that crazy Dominican mentality, which is one of opportunism. We need to make the most of the situation financially or otherwise, and that's, oftentimes what you're going to find. So, but, I just want to say that there are a lot of good, honest people in the Dominican Republic, and I do not mean to speak in any general disrespectful terms, and smear, you know, those good, honest people that are in the Dominican Republic. Okay. And so anyway, back to the story. So, I go down to this bar and I'm sitting there and you know what? I'm pretty laid back. Don't even necessarily need to get with a chica or anything. I'm just relaxed. I'm happy to be there. I want to have a beer, sit and bullshit with some people. And there's this Haitian woman there at the bar. And she starts to talk to me. And she speaks English, pretty well, which is nice, to actually have somebody you can talk to. And so she wants to, she wants to come to my room. And I don't necessarily want to bring her to my room. I don't even know if I want to get with her, But you know what? She's very persuasive. And when I ask her about money, she says, oh, money is not important. I just want to spend some time with you. So she gives me this whole spiel, and which is, okay, here's big red flag. Okay, guys, you do not want to go and bring a chica to your room or anywhere else without a clear understanding about money. Okay. And now, you could get away with this more so in Cartagena and Colombia because there is not this mentality of opportunism. But in general, it is a bad idea to not have a clear idea about what kind of financial arrangement and what you both expect before bringing a woman to your room or apartment. Okay. So anyway, so she says, I don't care about money, whatever. And so, I foolishly bring her to my room. Okay. And we spent a little time there. I'm still not sure if I even want to get with her. I thought, whatever, we could hang out and see how it goes. And you know what? I just kind of get like this uncomfortable, weird vibe. We've almost done nothing, and I kind of feel like I want her to leave, because I'm just like uncomfortable at this point, And so, I kind of just say, look, I don't, really want to do anything with you. And, I think you should just go. And you know what? This woman completely freaks out. And she starts screaming about how she has to feed her babies and she wants whatever ridiculous amount of money, And so here I am in Sosua with this, crazy Haitian woman in my room screaming about, how, she needs money to feed her babies or something, So I'm like, wow, how do I handle this? Now here's the funny part of the story that I really like is that there was this guy, Kevin. Maybe he's still there. He was, he basically worked at the door. He was the security guard at Hotel Europa. And Kevin was like this 6'2", tall, slim, Dominican guy. And he walked around with a shotgun and like a flak jacket on as the security of the hotel. And so, I kind of like this woman is screaming and I'm trying to like reason with her. And so I kind of like talk with her and kind of ebb her toward the door. Right. And so I go and I open up the door to the room and Kevin happens to be walking down the hallway, this 6'2" guy with a shotgun. Right. And I go out in the hallway and I'm like, oh my God, it's Kevin. And I'm so grateful to see him. And I'm like, Kevin, there's this crazy woman in my room and you have to get her out of here. And she comes out into the hallway. And you know what? Kevin, like basically marches her out of the building. This 6'2" guy with his shotgun marches her out of the building and she is screaming the whole time. And mind you, I gave her some money. I gave her, whatever, 40 or 50 bucks. We didn't even do anything, and she's still screaming that, about feeding her babies, or something. And so Kevin marches her out right out of the building, And so that was my first experience in Sosua. And you have to understand that these women in the Dominican Republic, they know that if you bring them to your hotel, you see, you're safer at a hotel because you have hotel security to step in on your behalf. But if you have an apartment and you don't have anybody, then you have to be very careful bringing, a stranger to your place, And these rules more so apply to the Dominican Republic and Sosua than they do to, Cartagena. But, so I just want, to explain to you that, so you want to be very careful. In my time in Sosua, I heard so many horror stories from men of their bad experiences that I actually thought about creating like a legal document, like a form that would be signed by the guy, the girl, and the hotel staff, which was basically just like a checklist. Susan is going to get with Jim for 1 hour, and we're going to check some boxes, and the hotel is going to sign off on this, that we had an agreement on paper for $40 for an hour of consensual sex, etc. This is how crazy it is in Sosua that, you almost feel like you need like a written contract to, make sure that things are clear, because of the opportunistic mentality of people there, So, and that is the big difference with Cartagena, okay? In Sosua, people feel like they can use the police even because you never know if you involve the police where that's going to go, So, and that's true, again, to some degree in Colombia, but I have found women in Cartagena do not want to involve the police. They really don't want to involve the police one way or the other, So, so they're not going to have any arbitration going on, with that. Where in Sosua and in the Dominican Republic, you know what? They're okay with involving the police. They oftentimes might call police that they have an agreement with to come and, work things out on their behalf. I heard one story of a guy who went, he kind of foolishly, he met some woman online, I think, and he went to Puerto Plata and spent, a weekend with this woman. And they didn't really have a financial agreement, right? So he goes and he spends, 4 or 5 days with this chica, and they don't really have a financial agreement. And he, tries to give her like $100. And you know what? She was not going to take that. She wanted $300, and which is, still not a lot of money considering things. But, he doesn't want to pay it. And you know what? She calls the police, and who I think are her buddies, and the police take him to an ATM, and they make him give her $300. And look, they could have, they could have been much more opportunistic, than that. And I don't honestly think that that's unreasonable on her, behalf, because that's. You can't expect to go, and unless a woman tells you, I don't want any money from you, then you have to expect that a woman is going to expect money from you. And so it's better that you have an agreement in advance, a clear idea about what that is. Okay. So, and look, I've had sort of situations in Cartagena similar, but you know what? Again, women do not have the same opportunistic mentality, and women do not want trouble or problems. Most of them are nice people who are simply trying to support themselves. And I've found that if you are good to them, they will be good to you. Where in Sosua, you know what? It's just, being good to people is almost, in general, there is an attitude of ingratitude. And it's never enough. I've heard of men who brought perfume and things for women, and they would balk at the fact that it wasn't, some designer, expensive perfume. So You know, in general, it's like there's an attitude of many women in Sosua of, you know, real ingratitude and a sense of entitlement, you know, coming from people with a very poor background, you know. So it's very interesting, you know. And so, you know, that is my first experience in the town of Sosua.